Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Conscious Crew. We're Ryan and Stephanie, and each week we share conversations from our journey with family, healing, and conscious living. So grab your cup, settle in. Today we're going to share about how we do family cacao ceremonies with our children and why they become such an important ritual for our family. So to begin, Stephanie, why don't you tell us what cacao is?
I would love to. Cacao is chocolate in its purest form, so nothing has been added or removed. For this reason, it has a lot of nutritional and spiritual benefits. Fun fact, it is the most nutritionally dense superfood on the planet. So when you think of superfood, you might think of blueberries or kale or salmon, but it's actually cacao that takes the top spot. It's also very high in magnesium, manganese, chromium, and theobromine, which um, is the reason for the beautiful heart opening effects of cacao. So, caffeine, in contrast, is a nervous system stimulant. So, it gives you this jittery jolt followed by a crash, whereas cacao with the theobromine is a much gentler cardiovascular stimulant that is long lasting. So, a lot of people drink cacao before exercise or before creative tasks like writing, um, given again those heart opening effects. Cacao is also very high in theobromine and enantiamide, which are known as the love and bliss chemicals. And as for the spiritual aspects of cacao, again, it's a medicine of the heart. It is also an embodiment medicine, so it really puts you in your body and it allows you to feel maybe some feelings that you've been suppressing and emotions when they're ready to process and face those. And cacao is also a medicine that helps us remember. So it's no reason why that this beautiful blend of neurochemical magic makes us feel so amazing. So that's a little bit of 411 on cacao. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years in different rituals back in the Amazon for marriage or birth or death or rites of passage. And now we use it ceremonially as individuals and with our family. So, Ryan, when was the first time that you used cacao?
Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing all that with us. Cacao is just a wonderful medicine. I wasn't ever really looking for cacao when I found it. It kind of found me. And I think that my shirt suggests that I've been probably done a lot of plant medicine. And on this particular retreat, I was working with the medicine called San Pedro or Wachuma. But during this retreat, I was introduced to sacred cacao. We had a little ceremony in between all the other bigger ceremonies with sound. And it was very special. I remember being really excited about it because they were telling me it was chocolate and it was this heart opener. I didn't have any expectations going into it, so I really believe that that was probably a good thing. And then it was just very similar to how you would expect a sacred ceremony to go. You know, we gathered in a circle, we were drawing animal spirit cards, and we were connecting and setting intentions and stuff like that. But for me, during the experience, I was amazed and just really delighted by how warm and loving the medicine was and how far it took me. As I said, zero expectations. And during the experience, I was able to connect with my little brother Connor, who had passed away many years before this. And he came to me that afternoon with so much love and light and just sort of reaffirming my journey. So that was really special to me. And later in the day, I went out and spent time in nature away from the group, and I just remember thinking, like, wow, this is a really, really profound medicine, and I was really aware of where it was taking me, and I saw the healing power of cacao right then and there, and it was a really special moment. But skipping ahead a little bit, I remember coming back and back to the ceremony space and seeing a woman my age with her daughter who was 7 or 8 years old, and she was drinking the cacao, and I asked her, is your daughter drinking that? And she was like, oh yeah, she loves it. And that's kind of what I knew we had found in medicine that we could share with our children. So I was really excited to get home to Stephanie to tell her that I'd found a medicine we can share with our children. Um, and when I did, I'll let her take over and she could explain that what her thoughts were about all this and how she, in turn, also felt the call to share this with our children. So, Steph, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ryan. So I went to that same retreat that Ryan went to for the same center about a month later, and he had come home and told me of his really incredible experience with cacao, and I'd never drank ceremonial cacao before. Um, I was also about 5 months pregnant at that time when I went to this retreat. So I was like, oh, amazing, a medicine that I can have. It's chocolate. Um, Sign me up. So I was drinking it throughout the retreat. Um, and not having like the as profound effects as Ryan was having, because the retreat that I had was with a different medicine. But the cacao was such a beautiful companion to my integration in the mornings and reflecting upon the experience the night before, and just a way to really start my day with love and warmth. And when I got back from that ceremony, like Ryan, I was so excited that we had found something that we could share with our kids. And if you watched the last video, for both of us, it was such an absolute knowing that we wanted to hold space and really show up in this authentic and deeply meaningful way to help others. So when we discovered cacao, it seemed like an incredible entry point for me to begin my facilitator training, to start with this psychoactive, not psychedelic medicine. So cacao is psychoactive, where um, changes your thoughts or how you feel. You're in control versus psychedelics. They bring you through the door. Cacao, you have a choice. So it more changes how you think and feel about yourself and the world around you. So when I got home, I connected with one of the gals at the retreat, and she went through a facilitator training program. And, I immediately wanted to enroll in that program. Okay, how can I be of service, and how can I share this medicine with other people and with our family, and deepen my relationship with the plant and deepen my knowledge. So again, I feel like I could confidently share it with others. So not long after, a couple months later, I started my facilitator training program with it. And we actually started sharing it with our family before that, with our children before that, before I completed my training. Do you remember that first time
How
that
could I
we?
ever forget, Stephanie? You were still pregnant. It was the summer of 23. I remember we were driving back from the beach and we were talking about having this ceremony and using cacao specifically. And I just remember how excited and how good it felt. And we did our cacao ceremony for the first time on a Sunday morning. I'll never forget it. Everybody wanted to be involved. Everybody wanted to participate. Everybody wanted to help. Very much unlike our children. They were helping us set up the space. They wanted to be a part of making the cacao. It was really beautiful. There were a lot of pictures we took signifying the event, and it just felt like for me, like when we started doing that, when we started creating that ceremony, we really found what we had been looking for so long. Like being able to share the sacredness and the ceremony with our children was something that I'd been searching for. I think Stephanie too. And that day was so magical. We on these days we sort of just disconnect from the world and our phones and everything else, and just really concentrated on spending time together. We sit in sacred circle and talk about our feelings. We draw animal spirit cards. We dance. We laugh. And for me, that's what was so special. Is just being able to lay down with my son Rory. I remember just kind of holding him and rubbing his hair and just having that be okay for 10 minutes. We didn't really have any obligation to do anything else. And the dancing with the kids was so much fun. We each got a chance to pick a song, and that's sort of where we learned to start communicating how we're feeling. And not always I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Like no, I'm sad, and honoring that sadness and maybe honoring anger and stuff like that. So it's really given us a chance for us to speak openly and safely with our children and allowing them to do the same in return. So more than anything, it's just created this really, really safe environment for Steph and I, our children. And that first day ceremony was probably, I remember at the end of the day, I was like, that was the greatest day of my life. And since then, I probably had 15 greatest days of my life when we do these ceremonies. And it's usually a full day event where we eat really good food and we just sort of celebrate each other. And I think celebrate such a good word because a lot of times ceremony is for healing. But what we're finding is that, ceremony can also be for celebration. And sometimes for us, we just need to take that sacred pause from our busy lives and just spend a day celebrating love and the authenticity we have for each other. And I think that's really, really important. So that was the beginning. So, Steph, can you kind of tell us what a ceremony might look like now, or why we continue to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. It still has pretty much the same basic structure. And before we had that first ceremony, I remember talking with this gal who connected me with the facilitator program and just wanting to, do it perfectly. I'm a overcoming perfectionist. And really, it was just about doing it. And so, yeah, whenever we decide to have a ceremony, sometimes they're planned and sometimes they're spontaneous. It's like, we need to have a ceremony. Maybe something's been coming up for our family, or we just feel like we need to connect with one another. Um, Generally, Ryan or I will sage the whole house and clear the space. Then I'll make the cacao. The kids will get the space set up. Everyone gets a pillow and a blanket, an eye mask, generally their journal, and then we'll get some candles, the animal spirit cards, um, and then from there, once the stage is set, we will open with a prayer and do a drinking of the cacao. I'll generally lead everyone through a short invocation and drinking of the cacao. For a different video, I'll talk about our morning circles, but we do it basically like an expanded version of our morning circle. So we'll do a check in. How are we feeling? We have a feelings wheel. So it's not just I'm good. It's okay. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? And then getting more specific on that. We'll talk about what we're grateful for, how we're going to love ourselves that day. And then it's really just a free flowing conversation. If someone has something that's been really on their mind or pressing, then we dive deeper into that or go down our rabbit hole of what's coming up. So there's not really any uniform structure. We just go with the flow. The kids have been doing really great. We first started maybe like 5 minutes of laying down and breathing, and now we even do 15, and sometimes they even fall asleep or they'll request to do it longer. So we just have this time of stillness. Then we come back together and kind of reflect upon what our experience was like in that stillness. We'll draw some animal spirit cards, and then we usually do some movement and some dancing. After that, as Ryan mentioned, we usually have a big brunch, and then the rest of the day is a day of connection. No phones, and that's really a big part of why we do this, is to connect in this world that's filled of disconnection, and creating, as Ryan shared, this container of just safety and trust, um, as a way to be able to support one another, whatever it is that they're going through. Um, because the reality is that we're not always happy and we're not expected to be. So to have this place to really talk about what's been coming up for them or share something that maybe day to day busy lives don't allow the time and space for has been such a beautiful opportunity and gift for our family.
Yeah, I think, you said it there, just kind of going with the flow. And I think there have been times where we were expecting to sit down and have that celebration, but we kind of sat down and the mood was completely different and we were really feeling sadness or maybe grief. And it was time to honor that. So we've had days that have been remarkably different than what we expected. And I think that's really beautiful too. It's just kind of learning how to adjust to the flow of life. And Stephanie, you were talking about how cacao is chocolate. I mean, so how can you tell the audience how that might be different from just having a drink of hot chocolate?
Yeah, of
Because I'm sure there
course.
must be a difference, right?
Yeah. Um, so we drink Keith's Cacao. That's the program that I trained under. And Keith's Cacao is directly grown and harvested ethically and responsibly from the rainforest in Guatemala. The pods are hand selected based on their vibrational qualities, the The beans are hand peeled in the sun and roasted in the sun. They're sang over and blessed. So there's so much love and intention that goes into this beverage. Um, Aside from, if you go to a traditional grocery store and you get something that says 80% cacao, that means it's exactly that, 80% cacao and 20% something else. So generally, they've removed all of the really good healthy fats and the vitamins and nutrients. And then certainly, I don't think that I can't even think of a brand of like grocery store cacao right now, but I don't think that it's being selected with so much care and intention and love as Keith's cacao is. So again, very psychoactive components with a lot of love and intentionality has gone into it, and you can definitely feel that when you drink it too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, what's been your favorite part of our family cacao time?
Great question. I mean, if I haven't hit it already, I'll hit it again. It's just every single time we do it, I seem to have the best day of my life. So I get really excited when we just plan for one, because I know we're going to have that day that I'm looking for. Um, but I would say my favorite part is just really, really just hanging out with the kids, hanging out with Stephanie, and sort of letting the day lead the way. Sometimes after we get finished, we go on a little nature walk, and it's fun to see the kids get on their bikes and explore nature and stuff like that. It's fun to reflect at the end of the day on what might have come up for certain people. We're always learning, and that's kind of what we try to explain to our children is that we're just to be curious. What's coming up? What are you thinking about? What feels good? What doesn't? So my favorite part is just being curious about what's going to happen and where this is going to lead us to. Because I'm a big fan of the love. I'm a big fan of the connection, and I think when you add those two together, you really can't miss. Stephanie, would you agree, or do you have your own idea of what your favorite part about it is?
Yeah, I think my favorite part for sure is just our time together as a family and just having that really connected time with one another, and the unknown of how the ceremony will go or how the day will unfold, what adventures we'll have, or what fun or what laughter. Um, but yeah, just really coming together as a family.
Okay. Okay. Now, have you noticed? On that note, how have you noticed the kids respond? Do you think this has been good for them over the time? Because I
Absolutely.
certainly do. Just kidding.
Absolutely. They all light up whenever we say that we're going to do a ceremony, and they're so eager to help participate and help set up. Even our youngest, who is 2, he loves drinking cacao, and he always asks for a cup. He loves to be included. Um, but yeah, they've responded really well. Again, I can't like reinforce enough how much it's really allowed them to create this safe container of clear and open communication. One of our older son, Ryan, went for a trip for about 8 days to work on his newest book that will be released next year. And while he was gone, our older son, was kind of dealing with some emotions and anger. And the next cacao ceremony we had, when you got back, he expressed, "Yeah, I've been feeling really angry since you went to Florida." And this was news to all of us. I mean, there were certainly some like emotions and reaction we'd seen from him, but for him to actually vocalize and have the awareness that you left and since you've been gone, I've been feeling really angry. So then that open up the door to get really curious. Well, why were you angry? Did something happen? Did you leaving trigger something inside of him? And even with one of our other daughters, and having the confidence and safety to talk about her anxiety that she was experiencing, so that we could really hold that space for them and be there and help them and let them know that they're not alone through these emotions, these big emotions as little people. Um, so yeah, really just learning to talk openly about their feelings. I know things that we weren't given permission or time and space to do as children. So it's been so powerful, and really just creating this really beautiful family bond.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it matters, to do this because exactly what you were just saying is that we weren't really allowed to speak about our feelings when we were children, and no diss on our parents. It was just different generation. I've been trying to get my parents to listen to me for 40 years, so I've sort of learned through this experience that we're really teaching our kids love, like real, authentic, unconditional love, giving them that chance to really speak their truth at such a young age. So I think it's really important for the generational healing and just kind of changing the generational patterns that existed in our lineage and Stephanie's lineage as well. So we're leaving them with these positive tools to create with their own families down the road, and that's what we see the most. What we want to see in our more than anything is just to see this continue for generations to come. This idea of celebrating love and celebrating life and celebrating connection, because it's really what's missing the most in this world is that connection. The opposite of addiction is connection. So we're really trying to instill that into our children's hearts, and I think it's really important. And what we're all, my family, our family is here to do, what we were putting on this earth to do is to bring love, share love, and ultimately teach other people how to use this love to their benefit, because love is the most powerful thing in the universe, and I think that if we can all lean into that, our world would be a much better place. So I think that this is a great place for us to start, and I think it's a great place for anybody to start. So it's been a tremendous success for our family, and that's why we're here sharing it with you. um, so, Steph, why or what do you think the kids are learning from these moments? I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit already, but even if they don't realize it yet, do you think there's some stuff happening?
Yeah, they're definitely learning a sense of safety and trust, again, to feel safe enough to talk about their feelings, or an issue that's been weighing on them. And they're learning love for sure, how to love themselves by asking for what they need and being able to love others and hold space for a sibling or a parent who may be sharing something and being vulnerable as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I just, for me personally, I notice this incredible energy shift when we sit down together. A lot of times, life catches up with us. We have children doing activities all week. We're homeschooling our kids, and there's a lot of obstacles that come up with life. So sometimes we just get busy and we're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and we're just like, all right, we need to stop and do a cacao ceremony and just sort of ground and remember who we are and what we're doing here. So it's been really valuable in that sense, where it's just like we kind of sometimes get going and get going, and we're just and it's like, wait a second. So it's a really nice sacred pause, and it's a really good opportunity to reset and just to prepare yourself for whatever's coming next. I think that's been really helpful. And so, Steph, I think that's kind of wrapping up most of it. Oh wait, I just wanted to add too, like, I in that sense that I was just talking about, this idea of fear and love. Sometimes when you get wrapped up in the world, who it's we can all agree is kind of fear centered. It's important for us just to be like, oh, wait a second, we need some cacao to remember that loving feeling and that loving connection. So I think it's a really simple way to go from that fear vibration to a loving vibration. And as long as you're creating the sacred ceremony, the sacred setting, it can take you as far as you want it to. And so, Steph, as we're wrapping up here, what would you say to another parent who's curious about bringing cacao into their family's life? Aside from what I would say, which is hurry up. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just do it. And you don't have to overcomplicate it, and really just start. And your family flow and ceremony will look different than ours, and it will resonate with what your family needs and what your interests are. But really just to do it. And at the bottom of the video, I can provide links where you can order Keys Cacao with a discount code. So you can get this, again, very high quality cacao. But we've found such great joy in doing these ceremonies with our family. So no matter what it looks like for you, um, you can't do it wrong.
Yeah, that's what I would say too, is just to do it. And you can join our community too as well, the Conscious Crew, and we're going to be doing these sort of things in our community and showing people how to do it as well. So that's a really great place to get started as well. Um,
So stay tuned. That will be coming on Circle, likely in the new year.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Any closing thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, for me, cacao is such a wonderful medicine that people don't really know what it is and why it's so important, but it's been so great for our family. And I think it's just there's a lot of people out there that are using sacred medicines, whether it's mushrooms, ayahuasca, San Pedro, as we talked about earlier. And cacao is every bit as powerful as these medicines. And no, it doesn't take you to the moon, but it takes you inside. And I think that's where you can get a lot of healing is inside. So it's often overlooked, but it's just as powerful as any of these other medicines, and one that you can really share with your children. I usually drink very small, a microdose of it with my morning, in the morning as I'm doing my morning practice. It's very uplifting. It's a really great way to start my day. It helps with digestion. I can, admit that wholeheartedly too. So, yeah, I just want more people in the world to know what this is all about and why we're drinking it and how special it is for our family. How about you, Stephanie?
Um, Absolutely. So it is a beautiful medicine that really gives our family space to feel connected as individuals and as a family unit, and a safe space to express ourselves. I'm glad you mentioned that you can definitely microdose it daily too, certainly just a lower dose. It is a beautiful way to just carry this like a warm hug. That's what Keith would say, with you to start your day and throughout your day, so to start in this love centered space. Um, so I think that's about all that we have. We can talk about cacao all day long because we love it. And we're actually going to go have a ceremony following this with our children. So we'd love to hear if you have any rituals that you enjoy with your family. And thank you so much again for being here with us. We will be, as I mentioned, opening up that community in the new year where we'll have monthly virtual cacao ceremonies, and we'll be uploading different cacao rituals and invocations so you can do it on your own at home. We will be sharing a new video every week about healing, family, and conscious living. If this resonates, hit subscribe and join the Conscious Crew. We will see you next week, friends.
Thank you.